Hi everybody, I'm Rook and welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel budget deck profile. This video is intended for you guys that are looking to get into Speed Duel but don't want to spend all of your money. This is a very aggressive, cutthroat budget deck series. Also a great video to share with your friends that you want to get into Speed Duel but they aren't sure, they don't want to spend the money. This is a perfect deck for them. We are building Harpie Ladies today, a neat little 20 card deck focusing around somewhat of an OTK. Let's start with the skill though. We're using Bandit Keith's Switcheroo for this deck. Not really a good My Valentine skill to synergize with straight Harpie Ladies. So we're turning to Bandit Keith here with the Switcheroo. Switcheroo is a very viable skill that works with multiple decks. You activate this skill during your main phase. Once per turn, you can shuffle a card from your hand into the deck, then draw one card. You can use it up to twice per duel. So this card essentially is your mulligan. Twice per duel, you can shuffle a card into your deck and draw a card to try and get the hand set up that you want. With the Harpie Ladies, it's all about getting the right hand because a lot of the cards combo off each other to annihilate your opponent. So Switcheroo is helpful. Let's take a look at the monsters in this deck. We're starting with 3 Birdface. Classic 4-star effect monsters, 1600 attack, 1600 defense. The defense is pretty substantial for Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Harpie Lady from your deck to your hand. You're typically opening by setting this card. Really good way to start getting Harpie Ladies into your hand. You need the Harpie Ladies in your hand so you can get sisters, so you can get all the other good stuff that this deck has. So Birdface is a great way to help you get Harpie Ladies. Also just a solid monster to attack with. Getting into the Harpie Ladies themselves, there are a lot of different ways you can build this deck, but this deck uses 3 Harpie Lady 1. Harpie Lady 1 has all wind monsters gain 300 attack. This card is originally at 1300 attack, 1400 defense, but it does buff itself, so it's at 1600 attack. The buff also works on Birdface, which is a wind monster, so that would put Birdface up to 1900 attack, which beats over most, if not all, normal summoned 4-star monsters. This is the only individual Harpie Lady we're running in this deck. There is Harpie Lady 2 and Harpie Lady 3. 2 lets you destroy set cards without activating flips, and 3, if you would swing into a monster, it can lock your monster from attacking for a couple turns, which is pretty useful. Some good utility there, but we're running 3 Harpie Lady 1 because we want that maximum attack damage and we want to go for the throat. So 3 Harpie Lady 1 to get that attack buff. Harpie Lady is also critical to be on the field, so you can activate a card like Elegant Egotist to help get your sisters out. For the Harpie Lady Sisters, we are running 3 copies of this. This is a 1950 attack, 2100 defense monster. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned with Elegant Egotist. So for those that aren't too familiar with Harpies, a card like Harpie Lady 1 needs to be out, then you activate Elegant Egotist, which is a spell card, and that gets your Harpie Lady Sisters out, either from the hand or the deck. So Harpie Lady Sisters getting out on the field is a key component of this deck. In order to do that, you need Harpie Lady. In order to do that, you might need Birdface, so you can see how the monsters all kind of play off each other. And the last monster we're running is 2 Sphere Kuribos. Yeah, the deck budget gave us some padding to put some Sphere Kuribos in there, so really good line of defense. It's a hand trap where you can drop to the graveyard if you're getting attacked, spins that opponent's monster in defense mode, and protects you from the attack. So that's our defense in this deck, is the Sphere Kuribo. Maybe you don't have the right hand set up yet, and you need to get that one last card that maybe Switcheroo will help you get, but for now you need to avoid an attack your opponent has. Sphere Kuribo will help you there, so 2 Sphere Kuribo. Let's move on to the spells. We have 2 Harpie's Hunting Ground in this deck. This is a field spell. All winged beast monsters gain 200 attack and defense, so right there that's going to buff Harpie Lady 1, that's going to buff Harpie Lady Sisters, and that's going to buff Birdface. They are all winged beasts. Birdface with Harpie's Hunting Ground buff and Harpie Lady 1 buff is at 2100 attack, and that's a 4-star monster, so that's pretty solid. Harpie Lady 1 would go up to like 18, and Harpie Lady Sisters can get, with both buffs, all the way up to 2450. Now that's all well and good, but the best part about Harpie's Hunting Ground is if any Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters is normal or special summoned, the player who conducted the summon targets 1 spell or trap on the field and destroys that target. So there is your magic removal right there. Specific to Harpie Ladies, this card is pretty good at wiping out your opponent's back row or any face-up continuous traps or spells they may have. One thing to keep in mind is that if your opponent has no back row, you do have to target your own spells and traps. So make sure your opponent has spells and traps on the field for you to destroy before you throw down that Hunting Ground and start playing your Harpie Ladies. Next up, we have 3 Elegant Egotist. 3 Egotist for the 3 Harpie Lady Sisters we're running. If a Harpie Lady is on the field, you can special summon 1 Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters from your hand or deck. So we're always going to use this to summon our Harpie Lady Sisters. We're looking for a Harpie Lady 1 on the field, and then we can drop this card to special summon a Harpie Lady Sisters from your hand or deck. Ideally, you don't want Harpie Lady Sisters in your hand. We are running 3, so there's a good chance you might draw it. Always special summon from the deck first, and Elegant Egotist will help you get there. And then the key component to this deck that helps the deck absolutely destroy your opponent is the Triangle Ecstasy Spark. We're running 2 Triangle Ecstasy Spark. This is a very particular card because it requires Harpie Lady Sisters to be on the field. That's why we're not running 3, we're running 2. We We want to make sure we have the right setup in our hand in order to consistently play this card. Triangle XC Spark was the Jinzo before Jinzo came out in Speed Duels. Until the end of this turn, the attack of all Harpie Lady's sisters currently on the field becomes 2700, and your opponent cannot activate any traps. Also negate all of your opponent's trap effects on the field. All of a sudden it locks your opponent to not be able to use those back row or any sort of defense against your Harpie Ladies that are now buffed all the way up to 2700. So this is where an OTK situation could come in, provided your opponent doesn't have any hand traps like Spherocrebo in their hand. With your opponent's trap effects negated, maybe their Nightmare Wheels are useless, they can't activate their Zoma the Spirit, they can't even Windstorm of Atakwa you. Now the only thing that's really standing in the way from the OTK are the monsters. That is why we are running for our final card, no traps, all spells, 2 Offerings to the Doomed. Plain and simple, you destroy one monster on the field and you skip your next draw phase. That is going to knock out that last monster your opponent controls, or even 2, in order to get you a clear field to the opponent's face to knock them out for game. Offerings to the Doom is very effective there, as Triangle XC Spark takes care of the back row situation. Offerings to the Doom should take care of the monsters. Of course, you could always just beat over the monsters, but you may not achieve an OTK, and it gives your opponent a turn to react, as Triangle XC Spark is really only until the end of the turn. So you really want to capitalize the turn you used Triangle XC Spark on getting everything out there. That is the budget $10 Harpie Lady deck for Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel. TCG player market price, this is going to run you $9.77. It's unbelievable how cheap these decks are. If you want to even get it down further, you could drop that switcheroo, pick up something like Flight of the Harpies. I think that's like 11 cents. And you could even drop the Spherecrebos, and you could run some trap like Windstorm of Atakwa. That would take your total deck cost all the way down to something like $7. Really cheap, easy to pick up. Just grab those singles and get rolling. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like these $10 builds and would like to see more, I'm trying to cover a bunch of themes and hope that these can be very helpful for folks down the line that want to get into Speed Duel, especially with the new box that's coming out in November. I think it's going to turn a lot of heads and get a lot of attention. So I want to make sure people have the resources to kind of jump right into it. I don't want any barriers to entry. I'd love to see more people playing this game. If you do too, tell me what else you want to see. Subscribe for more, as I have plenty of other deck profiles and matches coming out to you, and I'll catch you guys next time.